Hey, this is Vallisa from Lyca Breakfast, and today I'm here on our YouTube channel for Lyca Radio and Lyca Gold, and I'm joined by someone who I've known for absolutely years. Hey Blitz, how are you?
How are you? Thanks for moving back from America.
Yeah, so you guys already know I'm always traveling. I get in trouble by our bosses because I'm always away. And I've just had two people say to me, are you actually living in America now? I wish.
I swear, I didn't even think you lived in the UK.
So you know what we need to do? We need to manifest that Lyca Radio open up in the USA so I can move over.
Or we can just switch. Because I'm always here.
You're always here, I'm always there, yeah.
So we'll do an exchange program.
Exactly. Now it's the first time you've come to Lyca, right?
Yeah.
So
definitely.
welcome
Thank
to
you
our
so much.
offices.
Thank you
I know
for the
you've already
hospitality.
had a look around and you're like, wow.
The finest tap water in London is provided by Lyca.
Because it's not out of a tap, it's out of a machine. But yeah. So let's go back to the start because you've been around for a while.
Right.
You're from a Punjabi family, but actually you're born and bred in Toronto, hence
That's
the
correct.
accent. For anyone who doesn't know where Toronto is, Canada, obviously. Tell me about your early life growing up as a Punjabi in Toronto.
So yeah, I was born and raised in Toronto. Toronto back then was, a lot different than it is now. In the most recent years, I would say probably in the last 10 years, immigration has really picked up. And I feel like that is one of the major contributing factors to why Canada is one of the leading scenes in the Desi scene right now. We have a lot of students coming over. So proof of that is Sidhu Moosewala, AP Dillon, Shub. All these guys are not born and raised in Canada, but they've come to Canada because of immigration for students, studies and whatnot. But before that, way before that, majority of the Desis were like me and Roach, where, we're born and raised there. It's very mixed. It's always been very multicultural, so there's a heavy West Indian influence in Toronto. So reggae, carnival is a big thing there. And all your friends are from all walks of life, which kind of develops your style. You end up going home, your parents are watching Bollywood movies, listening to, Punjabi music. When you go out, your mates are listening to reggae, hip hop, your friends are Arabic, you're trying all different types of food, listening to all different types of music. So that creates a fusion of what I am today. Yeah.
And actually, I've got a friend of mine who lives on the other side of America.
Vancouver.
Well, not Vancouver, San Francisco. So
Right,
mixed
right.
man Sean.
Yeah.
And I remember him telling me that he moved over when he was quite young.
Right.
So he wasn't born there, but he moved over
Okay.
when he was young. And he used to listen to like hip hop and R&B so that he could get the accent. That became so he could learn American,
Right.
and because he only spoke Punjabi.
Wow.
And he managed to learn the language through music, which is amazing.
That's amazing. Like I know Roach has that same story that he tells, where he says he immigrated to Canada and he learned English through music. So I've heard that story before. Me, on the other hand, I'm born and raised there.
Yeah.
There was like a lot of systemic racism back in the day, though. I remember in the late 80s, early 90s, when you're going to primary school, anybody that looked Indian, they would put you in something called ESL, which is English as a Second Language. And you're like, bro, I'm born here. Like, this is my first language. Punjabi is my second language.
Yeah.
But it was really funny, But so they, there's always been systemic racism in any country you go to. But things have progressed so much from then till now, where South Asians, predominantly Punjabis, are the largest minority group in Canada. So.
And how did you end up getting into music?
It was just something that I was just always into. I was just kind of watching TV and always watching like Rhapsody and MTV Raps and all that kind of stuff. And it's just something that kind of I was drawn to. And so I would freestyle in high school, and everybody was just like, bro, when you rap, it's like a Blitzkrieg. Because in Blitzkrieg is a German war strategy that was used in World War II, which is essentially like an unexpected all-out attack. So I guess like we had been like learning about it in high school or whatnot. And when we came out, there wasn't many Punjabi people rapping back then. Now everybody raps.
Yeah.
Vallisa actually raps.
I'm not sure about that.
But, back then not many people rap. But so to see an Indian guy rap, it was like an unexpected attack. So everybody would be like, bro, here comes the Blitzkrieg, here comes the Blitzkrieg. And I just kind of kept that name. Yeah.
So if you want to see me rap, they're going to put me on a song, obviously.
100%.
Now they know.
Yeah.
So with that, obviously, I was going to ask you where Blitzkrieg came from.
Yeah,
we now know we got that answer totally. But you and Roach Killer are sort of known as the pioneers of Indian hip hop, that Indian hip hop scene that emerged around like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. How does that feel to know that you guys were there at the forefront?
I mean, I can't say worldwide because we definitely have to give praise to Bohemia. I think he was the one. I think there's different lanes in Punjabi rap or Desi hip hop, right? Because people can easily just say Desi hip hop is one big genre, but there's different forms of it where you have Bohemia, which raps completely in Punjabi, came out, pioneered that, and you can see almost every rapper that came after him tries to emulate his cadence and his tone, right? Where we came from, we're rapping, we were rapping completely in English, but we just happened to be South Asian. That was the only thing Asian about us. So we really made a name for Canada in the Desi scene. So way before anyone, I'm not saying I'm better than anyone, I'm just saying it's just facts, she's saying it, that I think we were the first ones that continuously jumped on planes over and over again, came to the UK, because back then UK was like the quote unquote mecca of urban Asian music. If you wanted to be somebody or be known in the urban Asian scene worldwide, you had to come to UK, you had to make a name for yourself, and because it was born and bred here, and then it spread worldwide. So I think being the pioneers, we became the pioneers because we were really the first ones to export that sound and continuously go out there. But I love it, you know, I love it. And I love constantly reminding people, 20 years and I'm still here. I'm still young, you know. So,
of course.
yeah, so, you know, I'm very appreciative.
And why did you decide to sort of rap in English/American rather than Punjabi or adding any sort of Punjabi in there?
So I have Punjabi now, but it's like you kind of learn, you grow as a man and also as an artist, you know. So growing up in Toronto, like I said, I wasn't really listening to too much indie music. It was just something that was in the background at home while when I would go home, my mom, my dad would be listening to Punjabi music. But it wasn't something that I was a fan of. So I actually got discovered by Punjabi MC because he found my demo, and the part that stuck out to him was that there was nothing Asian about it. So he was so shocked about the fact that when he heard the demo, he was saying, there's no way this guy is an Asian guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound Asian. And that's kind of, he took my album, my demo CD, he played it on UK Airwaves, and from there, Tiger Style heard it, BBC heard it, you know, like everybody heard it, and then from there, my name just spread. So that's what really got me known. I think if I had started off trying to rap in Punjabi or trying to fuse Desi music, I wouldn't have stuck out in those times.
Yeah.
You know? Now it's like everybody's just rapping straight on drill beats or trap beats or whatnot. But back then, to hear an Asian guy rapping and not sound Asian or not have any Asian elements was actually my advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like the brown skin is just a colour. Like what was coming out, because you were born in Toronto and you were part of that sort of hip hop kind of culture,
Right.
it would have, like, you rapping in Punjabi probably wouldn't have made you that big. In fact, people wouldn't have known who you were because at the time, that wasn't a thing.
Exactly. Well, it's funny because it's like when I was growing up and I was in all these freestyle battles and doing local shows in Toronto, I would be the only Desi person there. But it's funny the way life works because my biggest quote unquote disadvantage at that time of being the only Indian person in a hip hop event ended up being my biggest advantage in my life. But I had to leave the country and go to a different continent to, you know, create that for myself.
Definitely. And nowadays, like, there's a huge amount of singers, rappers, producers that are coming out of Canada, as you've named a few already.
Right.
Why do you think that is?
I think that's kind of what I was saying. I was like, I think it's two things. Number one, the immigration patterns. Canada probably has one of the largest land masses for a country in the world. However, we're severely underpopulated. There's only 30-something million people in such a large country. So we need to fill that country up. So I'm noticing they're opening the immigration patterns up. More and more people are coming, which is a good thing. And with that, primarily most of the people that are coming are students from India. And these people, now that this group of individuals, there's a large amount of them. They're actually outnumbering the Asians that are coming as youth that are coming into Canada are actually outnumbering the youth that are born and raised there almost.
Wow.
You know, so when you come to areas like where I'm from, Mississauga, Brampton, it's all, you know, South Asian, like student youth. And what do they listen to? They listen to Karen Angela, they listen to Sidhu Moosewal, they listen to AP Dinlo, like all this kind of, that's their sound, that's their wave. And that's why everyone's starting to come from there. It's the melting pot of individuals coming from India and having the Canadian experience. Like Sidhu blew up when he met Big Bird. Big Bird is from Mississauga, where I'm from. So he grew up with if you look at Big Bird and Sonny Malton and all these guys, and me and Roach, we all look and kind of sound the same because we all grew up in the same area. So us having those influences, meeting somebody like Sidhu, creates that fusion of like that sound.
And you actually started like performing in smaller clubs here in the UK. Then you went on to like huge, bigger arenas with thousands of people.
Yeah.
But how does it feel to actually watch journeys of people like AP Dillon now, where I've just watched his documentary, and the fact that he's able to fill out an arena throughout like America and Canada it's something that wouldn't have been heard of when you guys were making music. You had to break bigger barriers to get out there.
Well, there was no social media back then, right? So I mean, it sounds like we're talking about the prehistoric ages.
It wasn't.
But it's crazy to think when did Instagram become popular? Maybe like 2015. I don't know. I'm just assuming 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
Let's just say for argument's sake. But when me and Roach first started coming to UK, it was 2003. It's 2023 now. 20 years ago, there was no Twitter. I don't think there was Instagram. Maybe we only had Facebook back then. So our reach was very limited. You know, right now I can just go on Instagram Live. I can document everything I'm doing and help it go viral and keep spreading the word. Technology has advanced so much that you can film music videos on an iPhone, right? You're a filmmaker as well, you know, right? So I think technology is, not only do they have a great sound, all these artists, but the time is right. You know, like I said, the population is growing in North America and in Europe of South Asians, so we have the demand and the market for these individuals. But now these individuals can just easily go on a DSP, third-party DSP provider, get their music on Spotify and Apple Music or wherever, put the song on YouTube and Instagram, and then there you go.
And social media has changed the world like that, because like even you and Roach Killer, you both moved here, sort of going back and forth, because you had to, you had to be present here. Otherwise, if someone rings you and says, hey, we've got a gig, and you're like, well, I need you to pay for my £500 ticket to come over,
exactly,
they're going to be like, oh no, you know what, we'll find someone else. So you had to come back and forth. But now you're physically in a different country, he's physically in a different country, yet you can make music together.
100%. We actually talk more now to the power of like FaceTime and stuff than we actually did when we lived in the same country down the road, you know? So technology has really evolved to the point where you don't physically need to be there. I've been able to sustain a career. I haven't been to the UK in 5 years, but I've constantly had music out. I've constantly, you know, but however, I will argue the fact, just to play the devil's advocate, I can clearly see the difference of the impact you have when you're physically here and when you're not here. So technology is great, but the fact that I've been here for the past like 4 or 5 days, how much I've been able to accomplish in 4 or 5 days would still take me a vast amount of time over technology. And
someone who built their career where there wasn't a big social media hype, like I mean, when I started my radio career, that was when we connected, and we connected through things like Twitter at the time. But for someone who started their career a lot before that, do you think social media is a hindrance, or do you think it's a good thing?
It's a gift and a curse, right? It's a great thing. You have to know how to use it. You have to realize that it's a tool. Number one, it's not real life. Like, you know, you cannot base your whole life based on likes and comments and stuff like that. Because I'll tell you straight up, like 99% of the Asian artists you see out there, and I'm not talking about like obviously the Diljits or the APs and stuff, but I'm just talking about like these average guys out here. They all buy followers. The blue checks are not real. I don't know if anybody follows me on Instagram. I was actually exposing how to find somebody's blue check. I was exposing artists in the Bhangra industry, showing whose blue check is real and who else's isn't. Now you can actually buy a blue check.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, it's funny. You'll find somebody that you've never heard of before, and they have like 1,000 followers and they have a blue check. And you're like, bro, this is it. Or they'll have like 30,000 followers and 2 comments on their most recent post, you know? But they're only fooling themselves at that point. It's not real life, you know. Real life is that when you can see the ripple of your success in your music.
And do you find that now when you're making music, you do have to think about social media, though? Things like reels, like, for example, that Obsessed song. It literally, honestly speaking, it's an all right song. I wouldn't say it's one of the best songs out there. But just because Vicky Ghoshal done a quick, impromptu dance to it, it blew up.
Yeah.
But we don't ever know if that guy's ever going to make anything else. We don't know what's going to happen because it was that one song due to the fact that Vicky Kaushal done that and you could make reels from it,
Yeah.
it became...
Well, reels is a powerful thing, you know. That's how people discover music. Like, for example, there was that guy, I'm forgetting his name, I apologize. But there was an Asian rapper from London. I put my Asian thing in a linga, right?
Yes.
Like, he had this one line, and just the amount of girls that reposted themselves wearing a linga in that song, and that's how it came across my attention, is because I'm not physically in the country. I don't know who's popping in the underground or who's not. But the fact that this thing kept showing up on reels, I'm like, what is this song? And then I went and checked it out. I'm like, yeah, man, it's all right. It's a good song. So, you know, not saying that individual did make it with the intent of that, but it worked for him, you know. And it's undeniable the fact that, yes, you do need to think of reels. And just on the back end, because I know you're a filmmaker, I'm a video director. So I just quickly realized, like, over the pandemic, I'm like, you know what? Spending a few £1,000s on a video anymore doesn't make any sense because people don't have the attention anymore. They're not going to watch a 3-minute music video anymore. And even if they do, they'll only watch it once. So what I started doing, if anybody pays attention to my social media, is I started shooting 60-second clips to everything. So I said, listen, that £3,000 budget I had for one music video, I'm going to make that stretch over 20.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep shooting, you know, little clips. And I feel like that is way more effective than just putting all your money in one basket, you know?
In fact, you know, I just done an interview with Jussie Sidhu a couple of
Okay.
weeks ago, and he said something very similar. He goes, I'm still a bit silly because I still spend money, like he's flying to LA to shoot a music video.
Yeah.
But he said it's literally not necessary anymore. It's not as necessary as it was before.
Yeah, no, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I gotten to the point where I'm able to, I've shot a lot of videos over the pandemic for 30 quid. So when I meet directors, I feel for them, and they're like, yeah, bro, we can shoot you a video for, you know, £5,000. I'm like, no, thank you. Like, those days are gone, bro.
Yeah.
There's no point in that, you know?
Now, you've made music for Bollywood as well.
Yeah.
How was that journey for you?
So it's been interesting, you know. India is an interesting beast, I guess. Like interesting. It's like interesting industry because this popular song "Twist" in the movie Love Ajkal, RafaqatAliKhan, all the background vocals are my vocals on that song, but nobody would ever know because I'm not credited or whatnot. Tiger Style did the production on that song. I was signed to Tiger Style. They had me go in and do the backup vocals, and you know sometimes. You know, what happens is these music directors, not to call anybody out by name, but what happens is they'll contract so many different people to do a Bollywood song. And there'll be like 5 different versions of Twist. And then what they'll do is they'll pick the best parts of, I like those background vocals, I like that tabla, I like those drums, and I'm just going to make a Frankenstein, quote unquote, of a song here. So that's what they do, but not everybody gets credited. But then there's been other times where I was in Gully Boy, and that was amazing. You know, I was properly credited, properly paid. Partners in Rhyme produced that for me. So yeah, bro, Bollywood. What Bollywood does for you, you cannot compare. That was the first time in my life where I went on YouTube and just hundreds and hundreds of people are making choreographed dance videos to my song and my verse, and I was just like, raw, like. Bollywood is king at the end of the day. There's nothing bigger
But
than
I have
Bollywood.
heard that sometimes, like, because they have so many different versions, and then they pick what they want, you don't even know if your version is going to end up in the film or not.
Dude,
until the film comes out, and then you're like, oh, that's me.
I started getting calls and messages saying, congrats. I'm like, on what? I had no idea what people were saying. They're like, on the movie. I'm like, what movie? And then somebody sent me the trailer, and RafaqatAliKhan's mouthing my words. I'm like, what the? Like, yeah, that is me. I'm like, it's cool though. It's something I'll tell, you know, my great grandkids one day.
So we are going to talk about your new track. But first I want to ask you, like, obviously the industry has changed a lot. We've seen people like Doljit perform at Coachella, AP Dillon perform at the Junos.
Right.
What do you think the future is for like that sort of Indian hip hop rap sort of scene?
I think it's getting bigger and better. Like, I can speak about specifically Canada. Warner Music Canada, a mainstream label, just gave Icky his own label called 91 North, and they've signed Karan Aujla, Janita Gandhi, you know, so they're seeing, like, if I'm not wrong, this past summer of 2023, they I think 3 of like the highest charting hits in Canada were by Shub, AP Dillon, and Karan Aujla. So it's a business at the end of the day. So they're seeing, hey, these guys are putting numbers up. They're filling out arenas. We need to get into this business. So the mainstream, at least in Canada, is at the point where Live Nation wants to do business with us. Major labels like Warner want to do business with us. So it's only going to get bigger and better. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Somebody like Icky getting a label, you know, who knows what's going to happen 5 years from now when the next Icky or the next AP come out. You know, it's only after all this time. Nav got signed to XO.
Yeah.
And he's like really the first Desi artist to be signed by like a mainstream artist. So who knows? I only see this scene getting bigger and better.
And what's interesting about some of the names you just mentioned is that they actually don't sing in English. So music is universal, we know that anyway.
Yeah, crazy.
But like when I actually stayed up to watch Diljit at Coachella because I wanted to watch the live YouTube stream, and I was just like watching all these people vibing to his music thinking, I don't even know what he's saying half the time. Yeah. You don't know what he's saying, but yet he's there on that stage that people talk about all the time.
Yeah, well, you saw Diplo. Diplo was dancing in the crowd to Diljit, and I think him and Diljit got in the studio right after. So I think what Diljit is doing is phenomenal. He's always reinventing himself. He's always coming with he has a different style for every single individual. If you like proper traditional folk Bhangra, he's going to make an album for you. If you like trappy fusion Bhangra, he's going to make songs for you. So yeah, I think only bigger and better things are coming. You know, I think what we did, every generation that comes is laying down a different, like adding to the foundation, you know?
Yeah.
So we had the original guys like Alap and those guys, and you had, you know, Vallisa and Apache Indian. Apache Indian gave birth to me and Roach, and then after me and Roach, there's like the Fateh, Sonny Malton, you know, A.R. Paisley type guys, and now after that, you've just seen, you know, guys like AP and them come and just smash in. Everyone is getting bigger and bigger and better, and that's the way it's supposed to be. I always say, my one saying is if the scene wasn't growing and if the next rapper wasn't bigger or better than us, then we would have done something wrong.
Yeah.
So instead of being jealous of these individuals, it's about, yes, we did something right. We crawled so that they can walk, and they're walking so the next man can run.
And also it gives you kind of pride to know that someone with the same culture as you is standing there, and you've given sort of birth to that in a way.
Yeah, not birth to their talent, but like, it's great knowing that, hey, we all helped lay a brick in the foundation of urban Indian music.
So let's talk about your latest song.
Yeah.
So you're teaming up again with RafaqatAliKhan.
Yeah.
And you've done that before, it's not a new thing.
Yeah.
So how did this track come about? It's called Stay With You, right?
Stay With You, yeah. So basically what happened was I had done a song for my second album, produced by Mentor. It was called Dil Lagi, aka Can't Forget You, with RafaqatAliKhan. And that song had won a huge grant from the government of Canada. And we made like a $30,000 music video to it, shut down the streets of Toronto. We were racing through the streets in Camaros. It was really cool, and Universal India bought that song, and that was such a big hit. Rafaqat was just really pleased with it, and was like, I want to work with you again. So I said, okay. He came to the UK, and basically I got Mr. K, my friend Mr. K. Yeah, he went to Mr. K's house. I got some vocals recorded by him. And I was sitting on those vocals, and I won another grant from the Canadian government for what I've been doing internationally and just achieving stuff for Desis. And what I wanted to do was I took an 8-piece live band, and I took them into the studio, and we just recorded a live project. And I just wanted to do something that's just hasn't been done yet. Nowadays, every single hip-hop song is trappy, 808 beats, whatnot. So not a single thing in this song is actually programmed. Everything is live. Every single thing, the scratching, the drums, Rafaqat, like everybody was in one room. We set up the mics, and we just recorded. And I kind of wanted to pay tribute to Nusrat as well, because Nusrat is probably one of the greatest to ever do it. And not only that, but he's an amazing live performer. And everyone always says, man, I wish I had seen Nusrat live. I said, bro, you know what, we have to do something live to pay tribute to this man's, you know, history and pay homage to him. So, you know, I decided to take Qawwali, take Punjabi hip-hop, add elements of jazz music, and add elements of rock music. Because this is all me. I listen to jazz music, I play the guitar, I play drums. I used to be in a rock band, so I just fused everything that is me, and I put it on a record.
And Rafaqat, he's a very like Sufi Qawwali type singer, and then obviously you've got the rap, the rock, like you said. What made you know that this was going to work together?
Well, obviously you can see that Qawwali is always appreciated live. You know, Nusrat is proof of that, you know. And then what I've been doing as I've been performing over the past 20 years is I've been wanting to elevate my skills. So anytime I perform, I get bored of just performing over 2 turntables and a microphone. So now what I do is I take my own band everywhere I go perform. Even if it's just me and a live tabla player, I always have to have a live element. So this is my sound, and I needed to, make myself very distinct from any other DC rapper out there. I want people to be able to listen to a song and be like, yeah, that's Blitzkrieg. That is extremely different from anybody else. Not better, not worse, just different. It's my own unique sound.
And with this particular track, you're working on the music video now, aren't you, while you're here?
No, it's already done.
Oh, it's already done?
Yeah, it came out 2 days ago. Yeah, no, so I'm working on a new video.
Oh, you're working on a new video?
Bro, I've been working on videos. Over the past 2 years, I've released 50 videos.
I was wondering, I was like, you told me the song's coming out.
Yeah.
Then you said you're working on a video. I was like, how?
No, so I'm actually, as soon as I leave here, I'm going to go shoot another music video.
Okay.
So I'm just always filming because my new favorite thing is consistency creates momentum.
Yes.
And I feel like nowadays, people might not be able to remember a specific song of yours, but if you can consistently put stuff out and be out in their faces, that's going to create momentum for yourself.
Definitely. And you've worked with many singers before.
Yeah.
Who would you like to work with again, or who would you like to work with that you haven't worked with
I
before?
want to work with Diljit, man. Diljit.
Come on,
Diljit,
let's
holla at your
manifest
boy,
it.
man. But no, I think Diljit is amazing. I think everything he's doing, he keeps pushing the envelope. I would love to work with Diljit. I think that's the one right now. Yeah.
And what other music are you working on at the moment?
Like I said, on my phone, literally right now, I have 30 unreleased music videos. And so I'm going right after this. So I'm constantly working on stuff. So what I can say confidently what's coming out is I have a 4-song EP with Roach Killer. Me and him did the whole EP. It features Swami Barakis. It features Sanju from Delhi to Dublin. It features, I don't even know. It features a lot.
I haven't even heard from Swami in like
I
forever.
got him on a song.
Like I bump into him at the temple. That's how. That is it.
So you know what? And then so me and Roach have a 4-song EP coming out. The videos are done, album's done. So I think we'll probably put it out in like a few months. And after that, I went to Australia. I shot 2 music videos out there with a rapper called Lyca. Have you heard of him?
I haven't. But
He's pretty big out there. Yeah. He's a Desi rapper, but he's actually just in the mainstream in Australia. So he's opening for Nas. He's doing all this kind of stuff. So I did 2 songs with him. I can't even remember. Honestly, I had no offense to anybody out there. I'm making so many songs, so many videos, always that anything I even breathe on, I shoot a video for it.
But like you've said, it's now become a lot easier. You can
so
also, because you're a video director,
Yeah.
it's a lot quicker. Like I do that when I'm shooting reels.
Yeah.
It's like I'll do 5 in a row.
Yeah.
I may not post them all at the
You
same
do
time,
them, yeah.
but I just do them because they're there and I can
Yeah.
do it on my phone with a stand and it's done.
Exactly, and it's kind of like what you were saying in terms of having delayed posts. I can just kind of go into my phone and pick. So I knew I was coming to UK. Initially, me and Roach were supposed to drop our album while I was coming here. But Roach has a single coming out as well, so we decided to push that back. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to UK, let me pick something from the vault. Went in, found this Rafaqat track, uploaded it. Literally 3 days before I came here, I shot the video, and it's out. So it's that simple. It's just kind of always being ready, so that if somebody tells you, bro, do you have a song to release tomorrow? I'm like, let me go on my phone. I could be laying in my bed just uploading brand new songs.
But do you find that anything becomes a bit old and you may need to then rework it? Because like I find if I shoot something and then 3 months down the line I'm like, oh, I've scrolled down and I see this video and I'm like, oh, that song's a bit dead now. Like I should have put it up 3 months ago. Do you ever find that if you've got too much, you don't end up putting it out?
That's an interesting question, because I find that what it is and what I try to tell all my friends is not overthinking things. Mm-hmm. I find as artists and as creatives, we overthink things a lot. And there's this theory do you know who Malcolm Gladwell is?
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell is an author, and he has a theory of 10,000 hours. You have to have 10,000 hours of practice to be good at something. And I try to tell all my friends that are in the industry, I said, by now, we have the 10,000 hours. So believe in your talent. Mm-hmm. Just put it out, man. And you know what? We have so much stuff that if I put something out and it doesn't work,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I'll give you something new in 3 weeks.
It's a bit like that theory, which I actually just put into practice yesterday.
Yeah.
But if you paid for something, like if you paid for a holiday 6 months in advance,
Yeah.
it's already paid for, it's already done. By the time you go, it's free. Because
free.
you've technically already paid it.
Yeah.
So it's the same with the music. You've already made it. It's there, ready.
It's there, yeah.
If you put it out and it doesn't do so well, it doesn't matter because it's technically free. You've done it ages
And also,
ago.
you have to be very selective of what you're going to use with and when. So I have videos, for example, for hardcore underground hip hop tracks that are only in English. Am I going to choose that specific song to come to the UK and do a press run on? No, because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose the Kowali song with Rafaqat, which I know is going to intrigue the radio stations and get playlisted. So you have to kind of also know, make
Who
a
you're
basket,
targeting.
who to target and which ones to pick when.
Yeah, definitely. Like if someone was approaching you to say open up for someone who was in a very hardcore hip hop style,
Right.
then it would make sense to drop something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to know, just never stop creating, and then when you have a diverse platter of stuff to choose from, you can just pick the right song for the right moment. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us here
thank
today.
you so much.
We've
I
enjoyed
appreciate
having you here, and we look forward to the next time you're in the UK now.
I
Don't leave
appreciate
it 5
you.
years.
Yeah,
though.
no, I will not, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow in America.
Yeah, we'll talk about that with the boss outside to see what he says.
I just want to thank everybody, and if you are interested in my journey or my music, follow me at BlitzMusic1. That's the number 1. YouTube.com/GetBlitz, and for their channel, like, share, subscribe.
Awesome.
Keep it locked.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.